Hey everyone, Ace of Clay here and welcome to another video. In this one, if you can't tell already, I will be sculpting Spyro the Dragon from the Reignited Trilogy that just came out. If you're not familiar with Spyro, he is a video game character from the late 90s. I think the first game came out in 1998, and yeah, he's one of my favorite video game characters, so it was really a no-brainer when I was thinking about what I should sculpt next. So if you want to see how I got here, then keep on watching. Just for reference, I will not be selling this, obviously. Hello, copyright infringement. It's time to start the video. So like I said, Spyro is one of my all-time favorite video game characters. We go way back, and some of my favorite memories as a kid are playing Spyro in the summer and not having a care in the world other than like getting to the next portal and killing the bosses and all that stuff, getting all the gems. So doing this really isn't just random. I love Spyro. Like I said, we go way back. So, and the reason why I'm doing this is because just recently they completely revamped the entire Spyro trilogy. So I am sculpting him in his reignited form, which is just a slight redesign from the original, and they stay true to a lot of his features and qualities, and I absolutely love that. Here I'm just continuing to rough out the general shape of his body, his legs, his tail. I stuck a small dowel into the neck area so that I can attach the head later on, and I'm just building everything up with clay. This sculpture was actually a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. Just because something looks simple doesn't mean that it's going to be simple to sculpt. Because when you think about it, if something has like a really smooth surface and there aren't very many details, there aren't really any details that you can use to hide any flaws, so everything has to be perfect. Getting closer on the head. I ain't mad. Right here you can see that I realized that sculpting his little mohawk thing is a lot easier when the horns aren't in the way, so I went ahead and took those off gently, set them aside, and finished his mohawk. And then I add them back on in a second. Yeah, right there. probably the hardest thing for me to sculpt because they are shaped so weird. Like, there's so many different like nuances to them and how they bend and where they're located on his head. It was just like really confusing to me looking at pictures. I must have a picture of him from every single angle, and I still had trouble doing it. So I'm glad that I arrived somewhere that's passable. So yeah, that's that. It's not all fun and games, kids. For the wings, I actually thought these were going to be a lot harder than they were, but they were actually pretty easy. Inserting the wings into pre-made holes that I made with a separate skewer so that I don't ruin the wings when I attach them. Makes it a lot easier. I'm brushing the entire surface with cornstarch and with using an extremely soft paintbrush. What this is doing is creating a sort of protective barrier against my fingers in the sculpture so that when I add these final details in, I'm not destroying everything. It also takes out a lot of the oil and removes fingerprints that are already there. And he's done! Time to bake him for 20 minutes at 275 degrees Fahrenheit. Now that he's baked and completely cooled down, it's time to sand the crap out of him to get all those flaws that I may have missed. Now it's time for the first coat of paint. I'm starting with the purple. I probably should have started with yellow, but I'm starting with purple because I didn't think it through. And the first coat always sucks, so I apologize that this is not satisfying. It's just extremely streaky. I'm losing faith. As I am painting the purple areas, I am very purposefully avoiding the areas that I'm going to have to paint a light color like yellow or white, just simply because the acrylic paints that I use, the light colors, have horrible coverage, and it takes like 15 coats to get full coverage, and if there's any purple in the way of that, that purple is going to show through and it's going to be like 120 coats that I have to do with yellow, and I really don't want to do that. And yes, I am exaggerating. It's more like 3 to 4 coats of yellow I would have to do, not 120. And here I have added a little bit of white to the purple to create a highlight shade that I am adding to all of the raised areas on his body using a fairly large round brush and kind of dry brushing it on. Very little paint I'm using here. Now with a fine brush, I am outlining all of the areas where the yellow meets the purple, just for more precision. And then I'm going to go in with a big brush right here and fill everything in. This took forever. Now I'm highlighting the yellow areas with a brighter yellow to create dimension and make him more game accurate. Now I'm shading the wings with a dark orange, and then I'm going to go in and blend that in with the same base color I've used for all of the yellow areas, and then I'm going to highlight that further with the bright yellow that I used on his horns just now. Now for the most stressful part of the entire thing, the irises. I actually drew these on with pencil first because I was not screwing this up and having to paint the eyes white again. And the eyes are done on my first try. Now I'm just glazing them with some satin varnish and then using that same satin varnish to create scales on his back. These will be shiny while the rest of his body is matte. And I really like the effect because it looks really similar to the game. And that's a wrap, everyone. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked it, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And then, of course, follow me on Instagram and Facebook at Ace of Clay. I have t-shirts linked below if you want to check those out. And I think that's it. See you in the next video. Thanks for watching.